whether we continue to hire or whether we should stop, because we weren't obviously sure as to what the market was going to look like. So we made the decision of let's see what happens. Let's stop the hiring. And of course, little did we know that it was just going to go nuts. We were so overwhelmed with volume and of course very thankful, but at the end of the day our service suffered, and we're very aware of that. So I'm sure that those of you who are working with First National, and I hope it's all of you, that you probably got emails at 11 o'clock, 10:30 at night from your underwriter or even from your fulfillment when reviewing documentation. And that's pretty much what we had to do, is we had to kind of work really hard to make up for the fact that we were short-staffed. Let's go right into 2021. And of course, in July, we decided to open it up again and we started hiring again. So now, since that time, we've hired over 60 employees. We're now pretty much at capacity. We're continuing to hire. It's, 2021 is it's going to look different. It's going to take some time to obviously to get everybody into training, because the way that we train is you sitting beside that person and you're watching what they're doing, you're listening to their conversation, listening to, looking at their computer. Obviously, we're all working from home and it makes things a little more difficult. So we're training virtually, which is new to us. So it's going to take a little more time, but you will see definitely a huge improvement on service this year. So again, I thank you so much for your partnership, for your patience. Just to give you an idea, we're 37% of our plan last year as a branch, which was incredible. So thank you so much. So without further ado, I will start the presentation. Scott, I just want to confirm that I'm not breaking up and that you are hearing me quite well.
Yeah, we're doing well right now. It's no problem at this point in time. So just a little bit here and there, but
okay,
nothing bad.
Good.
Yeah. So should I get started?
Okay. Sorry about this, guys, but for some reason we can't. So we're going to start. First of all, I'm going to talk about First National very quickly and what the benefits are of working with First National, and then we're going to talk about submissions and how to best present your application. What does your underwriter expect or would love to see in your applications? So we're going to start. So the agenda will be First National promise commitment is to you as a broker community, as a partner. Then talking about Merlin, the broker portal, My Mortgage, which is the client portal. We're going to talk about the Echelon home warranty. And some of you may already know all of this, but it's a good refresher. We have a dedicated broker hotline, an email, what your underwriter needs to see in your application. I talked about that. And then at the end, we're going to have some question and answer period. So let's get going. Let's get some learning. Okay. So our promise to you as a broker community, we want to be the best for you. So what we committing to is this year, and last year we were very reactive. We were not very proactive. It was just because of volume. So there was very little education pieces that we did. There was very little, even for that matter, the account managers, I don't think anybody wanted to be on webinars. Everybody was so busy. So this year, that's our commitment to you. We're going to be providing you with a lot of educational pieces. We had actually just finished in the last week 2 webinars on Equifax. We sent out the invitation for the first one. It got filled up quickly. There was over 500 people of brokers on that, and so we decided to put on the second one, and again it got filled up pretty quickly. So if you were not able to attend that, you were not able to get a seat in that, we do have a recording of it, and I'd be more than happy to forward that over to you, Scott, if you want to, or if you want to email me directly, I'd be happy to forward that to you. That's to anyone fine. That would like to have that. So there's quite a few things that we're going to be doing. There's work. So I mentioned in the Equifax training, keep an eye out for your account manager's email. Like, do not ignore emails when they come from First National, because it could be an invitation for something that might help you in your business. Okay, our commitment to you is to keep you up to date. So again, we're going to be letting you know what's happening in industry. We have another, some of you may remember an urbanation seminar presentation that we had last year. We're going to do that again this year. It is really more about the condo market. So we're going to collaborate again with an insurer partner of ours, and we're going to be putting that together. An invitation will be coming out shortly, so keep an eye on that. We're also going to be partnering with another of our insurers and to do a market outlook. So there's several things that we are in the midst of putting together to make sure that you're the best for your client, that you're informed, and that your clients have the confidence in you, that you are knowledgeable. Also, our website has some really great resources, and we've actually revamped the website recently. So if you haven't gone in yet, under the broker section of firstnational.ca, I would suggest you go in there. There's some great articles, great things for you to just educate yourself on. And if you have a team, or if you yourself need any kind of training, maybe a follow up on what our guidelines or policies are, reach out to your account manager. That's what they're there for. So if you don't know who your account manager, then please reach out to me, and I'll be happy to send you that information. So this is what we're committing to you as a partner. So why choose First National? Well, one of the things that we're really proud of is the fact that we do commit to educating. But the next thing that we do have is our technology. So Merlin is your broker portal. And if you don't have access to Merlin, if you're working with First National and you don't have access to Merlin, then you need to reach out to your account manager or myself and make sure that you get user ID and password, because this is pretty much an administrative assistant for you. Every application and every commitment that you receive is on Merlin. You'll be able to determine whether or not documentation's been reviewed. You can actually email your clients your underwriter or your fulfillment officer directly from Merlin. You'll be able to upload documents as well. You can review outstanding on documentation, conditions. Also able to see when you get paid. As soon as we close the deal, you can go back in and see. We're quite good at paying. We pay within the week of closing. So I think from what I understand from other conversations, is that we're pretty much the quickest lender that pays out after closing.
Anna, can I stop you for a second there?
Yes.
Just what slide are you on here?
Yeah.
I just want to know which slide we're on. Am I the right one, or is it?
So we're on keep going.
Oh, keep going. Okay, great.
I know, I'm just talking. It's fine. Yeah.
Well, you know this stuff. You know this stuff backwards and forwards. I'm sitting here like trying to figure it out. So is this it here?
Not to worry. I know I'm pretty quick. I just want to do this. Like, I want to give the information, but I also want to make sure we have time for question period, because I think that's where we're probably going to get a lot of the information. Okay, and a lot of this is repetitive. I'm sure it's a good refresher, but yeah. So we also have the Merlin app. If you don't have the Merlin app on your phone, then I need you to upload it, because it's a great tool. If you happen to be on the road and you're waiting for a commitment, that'll give you notification that the commitment in your email. Also, if you happen to need anything on Merlin laptop is on Merlin app. So if you need to order an appraisal all of a sudden, and you need to know who our approved appraisers are, it's right there as well. The resources that you have on Merlin, I mentioned the approved. You're kind of go back one. Go back one.
Okay. There you go.
So approved appraiser list is on there. So you also know I'm I'm mainly speaking about the prime side, but we also have the Excalibur B product. Approved appraiser list is good for both the prime and the Excalibur side. Please make sure that when you're ordering an appraisal that you are checking to make sure that appraiser is still on our list. So if you ordered something a week or 2 weeks ago, just assume that it's on the list. If you've taken it off the list and we do not notify you, then we might have an issue with being able to accept that appraisal if you have not checked. All the documentation that you need, the rental worksheet, the client consent form, and you need a client consent form if you are inquiring on any existing client, gift letter, all of that is also on Merlin. For Excalibur, there's the approved lending areas, that's on there, and all our products are there. There's also a great buy down calculator that if you happen to need to buy down the rate, you just go in there, input the information, and it gives you automatically what that buy down cost will be. So Merlin Doc Drop. We just recently had that. That was kind of the last addition we've done on Merlin. It's really, really important to use this on a regular basis. And mostly, I understand that maybe it's more convenient to send your underwriter your fulfillment an email, but I anticipate it to be as busy this year as it was last year. So imagine the amount of emails that your fulfillment or your underwriter is receiving. Not only that, nobody has access to anybody else's emails. So uploading the doc, it automatically attaches it to the file. And what it does is it gives access to anybody that goes into that file, access to those docs. So if someone is away for whatever reason, somebody else will be working on that file and therefore can review those docs. If you send it to an email, nobody has access to that email. And what happens is it gets lost. That person comes back, they have 100 emails to look at, and it gets lost. So I do suggest always upload the docs. Okay, so another thing that is another reason why I choose professional is your clients, the same way that you have Merlin, your clients have mortgage, and my mortgage is their online access to their mortgage. So what it does, your clients pretty much can control what they want to do with their mortgage. They will be able to send themselves a statement, a mortgage statement. They will be able to control whether they want a weekly, bi-weekly. They can make all that change through mortgage. They actually have a rate calculator that they can play around to determine should they change it to a bi-weekly as opposed to a monthly, and how that's going to change their mortgage at the end of the 5-year term. If they want to put a prepayment privilege, they can do right online. They don't have to wonder, who do I send the check to? What's the address? All they do is go in online, select a date that's already scheduled for a prepayment or for a payment, and let us know how much addition that you want us to take, and it's automatically done. So it's so convenient. I don't know about you, but I know I don't go into my bank for anything. Like, I literally do everything online. It's just convenient, you know, and especially with COVID and everything that's happening right now, you want to be as safe as possible. For the first-time home buyers, this is what they need. So an additional piece of easy sell for your clients. So I talked about prepayment privileges. So just so you know, our mortgages, fixed rate mortgages are 15, 15, and double up. So 15% lump sum payment. It's a lump sum, but it is allowed to be paid in $100 increments or higher. So as it's paid out, or it's paid, as long as the payment is done within the anniversary year. It's not calendar year, it's anniversary year. Okay. Also, if it's a fixed rate product, you can increase that payment yearly by 15%. And then we have the double up option. And that double up option is exactly that. Your client can double up their payment. They can do it any time or every single time. So if you've got someone who's self-employed and who actually shows they make more money than what they do on the NOA, and they are able to make the double up payments and pay that mortgage down quicker, amazing. So one does not take away from the other. They're all separate. So we get a lot of questions, you know, do you have 2020? That seems to be the norm, but if you take advantage of all three, it actually ends up being better than 2020. And we all know that every borrower has every intention of paying their mortgage down as quickly as possible, but sometimes life happens. And so as much as everybody seems to think that the prepayment privileges are important, which they are, it's really something that not as many people will take advantage as they intend to. We do have our commitment is accelerated payments, but we do have non-accelerated payments. So if your client does not want accelerated payments, all you have to do is just cross it out, commitment, put in non-accelerated, put the payment, and just have them initial it. And we will take care of it on our end. So let's talk about the Echelon System Warranty Program. Some of you actually to hear stories about clients that have used it, because it's an amazing product. We actually were one of the few for the longest time that was offering. I know there's other lenders now that have followed suit, but this is a thank you to your clients for choosing First National. They get this warranty free for the first year. It covers the mechanicals of the property. So the heating and air conditioning, the water heater, the electrical, and the plumbing. So it's not for your washer and dryer and your fridge. It's for the mechanicals of your property, of the property. So if let's say your client's a first-time home buyer, they bought a home 6 months later, if something happens, whether it's plumbing, electrical, or they call this number and they give their mortgage, their national mortgage number, they'll send someone out to review it, to look at it, and they will fix it, and it's paid up to $10,000 a year. So it is free for the first year. After the first year, your client will get notified that your year is almost up, and we will need to get something in writing back from your client in order to cancel it. It is an insurance, so if we do not hear from your client, we will automatically add it to their mortgage payment. So if you call a client saying, well, my mortgage has gone up by $20, $21, that's probably why. Okay, so if they cancel that, they can never get it back again. It's a one-time deal. You cannot, after a year, say, can I get back on? No, it's done. So again, it's no more than $21 with taxes. It's less than a cup of coffee a day, and it gives your clients $10,000 a year. Like, even if, you know, at the end of the day, even if there's, I mean, stories where, you know, they had a $7,000 replacement of air conditioning because for some reason it just stopped working. And that's huge. You know, that makes a huge difference. Can you imagine having that anxiety as a first-time home, trying to make payments work, and you know, you're adjusting to your new payments, and all of a sudden this comes into play. So it's so worth it, so worth it.
And I just wanted to say too, Kim just wrote in on the chat and said saved her client $10,000 on electrical problems. So she's got, I mean, there's people who've seen this and have it tried, tested, and true. So that's a fantastic product to mention. Thanks very much. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but Kim put something up, so it works, he said.
Hi, Kim. Yeah, no, it's a really great product.
That's
Now,
great.
the great thing is that it's also an opportunity for you to actually reach out to your clients, like let's say 3 or 4 months into the mortgage, because a lot of people forget about it. So
Yeah.
it's actually a really great touch point where you can reach out and say, hey, how are you? I was, how's your home? I hope everything is settled. Just want you to remember that you have this great product. Do not forget, because if they fix it on their own, you can't go through the home system. So it's great. It's another opportunity for touch point.
Well, the testimonials are rolling in right now, so I'll have to get them to send them to you so you can send them out. I got
That's awesome. I'll have to go through them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll sift through them for you.
That's awesome.
Next slide. Is that?
Oh, good. I'm glad. On resales or when warranty has expired.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, on new homes, they have the right. So I would not. I would probably go through the builder first, but again, it's only for single family homes. It's not for condos because condos, the condo corp covers all of that, right? And it's not necessarily just for owner occupied. It can be for rentals as well. So just keep that up. Yeah.
Perfect. Cool.
Yes, when warranty is up, it is applicable. That's right. I'm seeing the comments actually.
Oh, cool. Okay, great. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing that. So, so the next slide. So you have a dedicated broker hotline. So if anything that you need in regard to an existing client, please try and use this as opposed to just the customer service. So maybe you take a snapshot of this, and that way you have that to refer to. But if if you don't remember, reach out to your account manager, and she'll give you or he'll give you information.
Just a quick question, and I think you see it here, but Steve just asked something quickly about the warranty.
Yeah.
I feel like it's best to answer it now instead of moving forward, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
So if it's a condo, absolutely, it wouldn't be offered. Like, we would know that it's a condo. It may be on the commitment, but we would know that it wouldn't be offered.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you. I'll keep the questions up there for you.
Okay.
Sorry.
So next slide.
This one here, the loyalty.
Okay. So one of the things that we want. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah. I want to make sure I'm on the right page.
Hello?
So be your best by building loyalty. Is that right?
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
No worries.
So be your best by building loyalty. How do we help do that? We actually try and ensure that you have a dedicated underwriting team. Last year, extension was a little difficult because we had a lot of underwriters that were promoted to team managers. Your wife was one of those, Scott.
She is.
And we miss Sarah a lot.
I'm sure she misses you guys too.
And so it was a little difficult. We had to do some shuffling around because we were trying to hire underwriters, and it does take time to get them trained. So we don't want to overwhelm them. So what we do is we put them in a queue. We put anyone that is the teams that were assigned to underwriters that moved on to bigger and better things, put them in a queue, and then they were distributed amongst all the underwriters. We are now starting to assign those teams back underwriters, because now we have underwriters that are on teams. So that's all coming into place. So pretty soon we're going to be back to having pretty much everyone with a designated underwriter. Keep in mind that it is a privilege to have a dedicated underwriter. We look at the stats, look at funding ratios. It is something that we look at when we assign an underwriter. So keep that in mind. Your underwriters will always try to work with you to make sure you can work with the deal. We give you, if the deal is sent in a certain way, suggest other ways that we can position the deal to try to get done for you. So there's always some feedback as to how we can better position that application if we are able to work with it. Not everything is a First National, not every deal, our application is First National application, but we certainly try. And our turnaround time, as I mentioned, you know, it's funny because even with the, you know, the turnaround time that we had last year, we had a lot of brokers that reached out and said, even though we see that there is a challenge this year, you're still by far the best in turnaround time. So, you know, we know that's our niche. We know that that's something that we aspire to, and we will again this year be back to our normal turnaround time. So look out for that for sure.
Perfect. Wonderful.
Okay, it should be being your best means working with confidence. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just give you some helpful hints on submission, on what your underwriter looks for. So first of all, when you're interviewing your client, there's certain things that, you know, you should really question or have questions for your clients. When you're looking at your applicant, if you've pulled a credit bureau, make sure that for what you're seeing on the credit bureau matching the conversation. So, and not to say that the credit bureau is going to be correct every single time. Absolutely not. We know that, but it's got to make sense. So if your client is telling you that they're in IT and the credit bureau says that they're a truck driver, there might be a question there. And it's not to say that couldn't be the case again, but that is something that will be a flag for your underwriter. So if it's a flag for you, it will be a flag for your underwriter. And so really, really important that you acknowledge that in your comments, in your notes of the application, because that just makes it a much smoother transition. Because if you don't, then your underwriter is going to put a halt to that application, and there's an email or conversation coming your way because they need to address that. So if you've already addressed it in your notes, then they can just move forward. Make sure that, you know, all the information that they're giving you are pretty much matching what's on the credit bureau. If they're saying they're single, make sure you ask the question, have you ever been married? This is one that comes all the time. They consider themselves single, but it didn't mean they weren't married in the past. And you'd be surprised how many applications we receive where we've seen that client in the past, in the last 30 years of First National, 30 plus years of First National, and that once upon a time they were married. So asking that question just avoids that right off the bat, because if they were married at one point, obviously you're going to need to know more details. You know, are they paying any kind of support, or, you know, what, are they separated? Are they divorced? Is there a separation agreement? All of that. And again, it's just for the knowledge, because, and the questions that we're going to need to mitigate that file based on that information. So notes are really important again. Next, we'll go to property. Actually, Scott, if you just want to put on the next slide.
Sure. I
know, I'm sorry, I should be telling you.
Backwards or
forward?
Forward, okay. That one here? Beautiful.
Forward, yes, there you go.
That's it? Perfect, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So property, very important again. All property details, make sure that it's correct. The reason is that, you know, we actually have AVM, which is our evaluation system. So if your information is correct, you can actually get an automatic evaluation, which means you don't get an appraisal. Which means that if you have a condition of financing, you're going to be able to meet it much quicker. So the details of the property is really important. Not only that, is if it's an insured mortgage, again, you'll get a much quicker response from the insurer as opposed to having the insurer request an appraisal. Also, taxes is one of the factors. A lot of times, especially if the ratios are really maxed out and they're already very close to being maxed, we ask the solicitor to verify the taxes on the property. If you've given us their incorrect taxes, the solicitor is now coming to us saying, actually, the taxes are not 5,300, they're 5,800, and your ratio's already maxed out. Well, what happens now is we're in trouble, because we normally don't work with the lawyer until maybe 4 or 5 days prior to closing. So now you're scrambling to figure out, how do we get the deal closed? So it's really, really important that you review the details properly. I know when there's an MLS thing, it's pretty straightforward, but when it's a refinance, you're best to get like a tax form or a tax statement from your client, just to make sure that you've got, taxes are huge. Like, that's one of the major problems that we see, is all of a sudden taxes have come back different and it's jeopardizing the approval. Okay.
Okay. Just a quick,
when you're submitting, so
just a quick question. In terms of,
yeah,
and while we're on the submission topics right here, just because I had a quick question from somebody online that was just asking, can you speak to any kind of, I hate to put you on the spot, are there any community changes in terms of how you're going to be underwriting deals based on this last year? Because I know that there's going to be some qualifying rules. I heard you say something earlier in the presentation, but
yeah,
it's
really difficult. It really is. And I mean, we're all struggling with this. We were actually waiting to get maybe some feedback from the insurers to see how they're looking at it. And they're kind of, we haven't really heard yet, but what we're doing, we're looking at each deal case by case, again, obviously we're going to be a little more vigilant when it comes to any kind of industries where it was mostly affected by COVID. As Air Canada just announced that they laid off 1,500 people, so those type of industries, we're going to be very careful with reviewing, making sure we get docs up front. We probably going to want to see, and self-employed borrowers as well. We're probably going to see 6 months bank statements to see where it's going to be a little more work involved, because, we need to make sure that we are doing our due diligence and we're mitigating that file and making sure that the risk is minimal, right?
Exactly.
I mean, unfortunately, this was unavoidable for anyone who's lost their job, and we do feel for those people. But is it the right time for them to be buying a house? Is it the right time for them to be refinancing their mortgage? That's how we feel right now. The first wave came through and we were totally supportive. If we had committed to a deal where down payment was given, we committed to completing that, because we did not want that client to lose that down payment. This second time around, plus we also knew that there was going to be some relief as well. But that relief is gone. That's been used up. And now, people have to understand that, we have to be careful when it comes to those type of industries that have been very affected by COVID.
Right. So just set that precedent.
I hope that answers. I know it's not straightforward, because there is no straightforward answer. It really depends on the overall strength of the client, the net worth, the credit, and obviously the loan to value. There's a lot of that we factor in when we're looking at someone who has been affected by COVID. Right. So
that's a great answer.
If anyone has a deal like that, the best thing to do is just reach out to your account manager and just run the deal by them before submitting. That's probably the best thing to do.
And
or call me too.
Yeah, and possibly too, like, just set the expectation with the client as well, because it's going to be a pretty different year for everybody, right? So I mean,
absolutely, that is huge.
So they need your help, guys, on the broker side to make sure that, if you ask for more documents or documents do come up, you can't be surprised this year, because it's going to be the new norm, I think, in terms of some of these deals. So if they can do them, I'm sure they will do them, but yeah, I guess it's just, you got to be ready for that. So that's great.
Yeah.
Sorry to put you on the spot, and I know it's the insurers that need to come back and give us those answers first, but I thought maybe you had some inside info or something for us. But
no. And again, I don't think anybody does. I think
no
I think
one does,
everybody's pretty much doing the same thing. Is they're looking at each deal for its own merit. Really, that's what it comes down to. So the next thing I want to talk about is documentation. When you're sending documentation, please read it before you send it. It's so crucial. You'd be surprised how many documents we see that the information is completely different than the application, and it's just sent in anyways. So make sure you do due diligence. One of the things that I also suggest, Google your client.
That's a good point.
Crucial. Google your client, because when we Google people, sometimes we find things that inhibit us from actually being able to proceed with the application. So, get into the habit of Googling your client. Google everything. Google the property. Make sure that if they're telling you it's a 2-story dwelling, that when you Google property, it's not a bungalow in the middle of nowhere. Because we do all that. That's the thing, is we do all that. Google the employer. It's just, if you do all this, your underwriter has such confidence in you that obviously the underwriting process is so much smoother. They'll see your deal in the queue, and that's the one they'll grab.
Wonderful.
So it's honestly, it's you doing your due diligence is helping the underwriter, but it's also helping you as well.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay.
Perfect. We had a quick question for you too from Bill.
Okay, let's next slide.
Oh yeah,
and we talked some of this. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Before we go on, Bill was just wondering: are you guys going to be ever going back to writing pre-approvals again, or is that going to be a thing in the past?
We already have.
Great.
Actually, we've announced February 1st that we started to start. Yes, we fully underwrite our pre-approvals.
There you go, Bill.
And we said that we didn't at one point was because of the volume.
Yeah, of course.
There were still underwriters that continued to do it. Yeah,
Perfect. That's a
so there was only a few that didn't, or there were a few that didn't, but we started again.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thanks so much, Anna. Sorry to keep interrupting you.
No. What, I think a bit of a delay. That's why I apologize, because I may be talking over you, but it's my laptop. I apologize. I'm glad you guys can hear me right, and I'm not breaking up.
You're good for now. You're good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the next slide, deal packaging. Oh no, no. Hold on. Did I put this in the wrong sequence? Okay. Yes, it is. That's it. Nope. Forward.
Boom. There we go.
Yeah. So we talked about this one. No, the previous one.
Delay.
So we talked a little bit about this. Oh, I did go through this, but again, you can just go through it really quickly. Make sure their name's correct. And make sure that when you're looking at the credit bureaus, if there are any AKAs, make sure that they have those X's in front of the AKAs, which means that Equifax has actually combined all the AKAs into one, so that we're seeing the full picture of the client. Okay. Now, also, I want to mention that we do accept both TransUnion and Equifax. So we are one of the few lenders that also accepts TransUnion as well. Okay. Maybe your date of birth and the SIN number is all correct. Marital status, we talked about that. The employment tenure and the type is accurate. The assets, oh my God, please put your assets in your applications. That could be the difference between an approval and a decline. If the application is slightly weak on the credit, or maybe the job tenure, when we see the assets and they have strong assets, that is going to change that, wavering on whether it's a decline or an approval to an approval. So please make sure. Now, I don't want to see art or sometimes jewelry, that sort of thing. No, it's got to be a car, savings, RSPs, any kind of investments. That's what I need to see. Liquid assets too. Okay, down payment, very important. You need to ask the question to your client, where's your down payment coming from? Are you saving it? Will you have enough time to save it all? Is it potentially going to come from a gift? If it is a gift, who's it coming from? And where is it coming from? If a gift is coming from offshore, meaning not Canada, we need to know that up front, because if it is coming from a country that is, first of all, AML has to review that. As soon as it's coming from outside of Canada, anti-money laundering has to review it. If it's coming from a sanctioned country, then it is scrutinized. So knowing up front where that down payment coming from is really crucial, and relaying that in your notes is very important. Okay.
Right.
The debts, make sure that you're actually calculating correctly. And I think we got under. We're going to talk about that 3% on all credit cards, line of credits. If they're registered against a property, it's amortized over 25 years. Make sure your payments are, because again, you're calculating them incorrectly, then it can mean the difference between your ratios working and not. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to talk about ratios really quickly. So obviously, we have uninsured, insurable, and high ratio insured. Obviously, insurable, conventional insurable is back-end securitized, so it does go to the insurer, but your client will not pay the insurance premium. First National pays it on the back end. Okay? In high ratio, it's pretty self-explanatory. Your uninsurable is the conventional, where it's 30 years, you can go up to 30 years. All refinances are uninsurable, and we can do purchases as well under that. And again, we can go up to 30 years. With insurable mortgages and high ratio mortgages, your ratios are 39-44. That's the max. We can't have exceptions. Insurers will not allow it. With uninsurable mortgages, we have the flexibility of extended ratios depending on the overall strength of the deal. Now, I'm not talking about 50-50. I'm talking about, instead of 39-4, again, depending on the overall strength of the deal, you can go to 40, we've got to 41, 45, sort of thing. So again, if you have a deal like that and clients are strong, good assets, good worth, good job stability, have a conversation with your account manager, run the deal by them. They'll be able to give you an assessment as to whether or not that's something we will consider. Now, those type of deals do have to go to upper management for review, so they're going to take a little longer, but well worth it. So just keep that in mind, because for some reason, it's, there's a presumption, there's a presumption that we cannot do extended ratios, but we have been doing them. Just keep an eye on that. Okay, again, and really important, the property details when you submit an application for AVM to get the evaluation. Your square footage is only the above ground square footage, not the basement, just above ground. Make sure that the type and the tenure of the property is coded accurately. So how old is it? What type of property is it? A garage, double, single, detached, attached. That's important. We talked about this again. The property taxes, really crucial. And again, age of property, important.
Perfect.
It makes the difference between you're getting the evaluation and not getting it. Deal notes. Again, important. Notes are really crucial. Tell the story. Give us a reason why you feel this particular deal should be approved. If there's anything that has been flagged for you, it will be flagged for your underwriter. So tell us the story. That's all we need.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. When it comes to transfers, that sort of thing, it's important that we know exactly when the last one was funded, what the value that was used in the past. If you have the insurance number, great, send it to us. If you don't worry about it. We'll find it for you. Very important when it comes to switches, tell us whether it's a collateral charge or a regular transfer, because the process is different. If we start off as a regular transfer and we find out it's a collateral, it means we have to start all over again. And sometimes we're at a crucial time where the mortgage is maturing. So all of a sudden, you're in the position where you might jeopardize that mortgage, and obviously the client will have to reach out to the current lender and make sure that they don't automatically renew it to fixed term. Okay. Yes. So documents. When you're uploading docs, please try to upload all the docs that you have for that particular condition. So you've got income documents, send them together. It's important. If you have, especially for down payment, if you have, collect all your down payment confirmation and send it all at once. Because what happens if you send in a month and a half of bank statements, your firm's going to review it. And when you send in 2 weeks later, the next month and a half, they're going to have to review that first email again. It's a waste of their time. So try and put it all together and send it all at once so that they can clear it right off at in one view of the document. Review documents that you send in. Very important when you're sending in a pay stub. Just do a quick math. Make sure that what the letter states actually matches with what the pay stub says. And if it doesn't, and there can be a reasonable explanation, but we need to know that. You have a conversation with your client as to why is that? Why is it that when I add up the math, it's not matching what it should be? And get that information and put it in your notes. So letter of employment and pay stubs can no longer be more than 60 days. Actually, it's 30 days now, so I apologize.
No worries.
That's I think that's it.
Wow,
I'm sorry, it took a long time.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
If you have any questions, I'm happy to.
I'll stop the share so we can get back things soon. So yes, thanks. And I think when people, most of the questions that came in were coming in through the chat, so it was okay.
Awesome.
I did get most of them over to you as is. I will tell everybody this is recorded. That just with the information we have, I would implore you guys to reach out some questions to me. What I'll do is I'll get the regional managers from you, and I'll send them out to the group so that you don't get over inundated with emails in case you want to send them off to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's great. Not a problem. Absolutely.
Great. Yeah, no, Anna, this was a lot of information, so thank you so much. And I mean, it was great though to hear from you, and obviously this is something. We have one quick one here. Can we do a mortgage for someone at a refugee status? That's one quick question before we go.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, if they are 9 SID number and they have a work permit, yep. We do mortgages under the New to Canada. Right. It has to be insured or insurable, so high ratio or back end securitized. Depending, obviously, with the 9 SID number, you need a minimum of 10% down. It's got to be 5% from own resources, and the other 5 can be gifted. Okay. The alternative sources of credit would have to be, hopefully they're not living with family, because any used product coming up like a HELOC. I saw that. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah,
I will answer that shortly.
That's a great question.
That question keeps popping up because at one point we were looking at it. So in regards back to the New to Canada. So hopefully they are, not living with family, where we can actually get a tenant's or a landlord's letter confirming that they've paid their rent on time. We also, any kind of bills that they pay, phone, we need, the insurers need to see that, and or if they actually have anything that they brought with them from where they immigrated from. Some people actually get bank reference letters from their home countries to, you know, to show that they've had a certain history. So, or you can get a international credit bureau, depending on whether they report to Equifax or not. Some countries like UK, obviously the US, there's certain countries where you can actually obtain an international credit bureau. So that is also an option.
We got a couple more questions. You have quick second, Anna? I know you're probably
absolutely. Oh, yeah.
So Kim, of course, says, will you only give accept your own? Oh, sorry, will you only accept your own gift template now? That was a question she had.
Yes, we need to use our gift letter template. Absolutely, it's there on Merlin. It's easy. It's, you know, you just it's that's why we put it on Merlin now. Yes.
And so Sam Reed as well is asking, any exceptions to mortgage delinquencies due to COVID? And that's probably a good question for you guys. But...
well, we do. Again, we do look at those case by case. And obviously, if it's during the COVID time, we obviously are going to take that into consideration. Depending on the overall, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like First National, just so you know, during the COVID time, we were not even reporting to Equifax. We're not reporting our mortgages if they were using our
your funds.
If we were helping them out with the payments, we would not be reporting it at all. So you won't see that with a First National mortgage.
Wow, that's great to hear. That's great to know. Actually, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah. Now, if anyone else has any questions, I know there's a couple people that had to jump off because they had 2 o'clock meetings. Anna, I really appreciate you coming on today. I know that everyone.
Thank you for the invite.
Everyone feels better hearing from you and hearing from First Nat because they do use you guys quite a bit. And even if it was informational today, we'll have you on again later on through the year when things start to get a little bit more solid and solidified as to what's going to be happening with, you know, the insurance companies and everything like that.
Absolutely.
We'd love to have you hear your input. I'm sure you got some great insight as to what to do. So thank you so much for coming on early in the stages, because I just want to remind people of the existence and how this thing works with First National, because you guys are one of the best out there. So thanks so much, Anna.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation. Again, thank you everyone MI Invest for your partnership in 2020. Hopefully we'll have just as good a year in 2021. And again, I will send Scott all the information on all the account managers, and feel free to reach out. Love to hear from you as well.
Awesome.
Thank you, Scott.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Anna. Appreciate it, guys. And thanks for everyone for coming out today. I look forward to chatting with you soon, and I will send out this information to you guys via YouTube link for this recording. Have a great afternoon, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.